What's going on YouTube? This is SG1 Sports and you're watching our college football channel. It's time for Upset Alert Week 5. Last week was actually a quiet week in terms of upsets. It was such a huge weekend of college football, but if you look at the actual upsets, like big upsets, we really didn't get any. Texas Tech, West Virginia, really that one upset. West Virginia upsetting Texas Tech. That was on the video last week, but that was the only one. So we did not have two upsets last week. And again, if you follow this, usually we average about 2 upsets out of the 8 games that I pick, and sometimes it's more, but rarely is it under 2. And so in terms of upsets, last week was definitely a quiet week. So now we're going to look at the most likely upsets for this week. Again, where the spread is more than a field goal, 4 points or more. A lot of games this week where the spread is only 3 or 3.5 or even less than that. So keep in mind, we're not looking at those games, only looking for the bigger upsets, and we'll go from the least likely to the most likely. So we start with USC Colorado. Now this one is kind of tough for me. The game's at noon Eastern time, big noon kickoff on Fox. USC favored by 21.5 points. Just the time of this game is enough to make it a little bit unpredictable. I mean, what are these teams? Colorado's actually already played I guess a couple of big noon games, so they should be used to this. USC, I don't think, has played anywhere near this early, and they're even farther to the west. So this is a 9 a.m. kickoff for USC, going on the road. They didn't look great last week against Arizona State, so you wonder a little bit about USC. And then on the Colorado side, did they get exposed by Oregon, or is it just a game where they weren't ready to play and Oregon was really fired up? Just look back at the national championship last year. Georgia's not that much better, or was not that much better than TCU. It just kind of worked out that way, where they were really, really fired up for that game. TCU just was not prepared. And so I don't know for sure the outcome, from the outcome of that Colorado-Oregon game, what that tells us about Colorado. And I'm not going to say they have no chance in this game. So I'm going to say they have a chance to pull off an upset. USC's defense not as good as Oregon's. I think Colorado should be able to score at least a little bit in this game. Can they keep it close? Can they hang around? Can they pull off an upset? We'll see. But I think USC has to be on upset alert just because of those things. Next, we go to South Carolina, Tennessee, 7:30 Eastern Time, SEC Network. Tennessee favored by 12 points. It feels like this is a revenge game for Tennessee. They're going to be really fired up. They're going to be ready. But back on Colorado, South Carolina did beat them last year. It might be a little tougher on the road this time, but they've got some confidence. Their offense is good for South Carolina. They played Georgia, or beating Georgia at the half. So I'm really not sure what to make of this South Carolina team. And I really don't know about Tennessee either. They look pretty bad against Florida, and that's really the only test that they've had. So I don't know for sure what to expect. I think you at least have to put the balls on upset alert here, though, against a South Carolina team that can score. I expect a lot of points in this game either way. Michigan State, Iowa, 7:30 Eastern Time on NBC. Iowa's favored by 12.5 points. Michigan State, the first couple of games against not great competition, looked pretty solid. Then everything happened with Mel Tucker. They have not looked great the last couple of games. Iowa looked pretty good in their first 3 games, and they got shut out against Penn State last week. So I don't know if that's just Penn State being that good, or if Iowa's offense is back to their old ways. Top running back is out. So I don't know what we're going to get from Iowa. Probably a lower scoring game. You see the over-unders at 36.5. So not expecting a lot of points in this one. Lower scoring games. Sometimes if you have a couple of special teams plays or something, you can get an upset. So watch out for this one. Kansas, Texas, 3:30 Eastern Time on ABC. Very surprised that this spread is 16.5. I believe Texas is back. I believe Texas is really good. But I believe Kansas is pretty good too. And I think they have a chance to hang around in this game. Probably a pretty high scoring game. It would obviously be more likely to see an upset here if the game was at Kansas, but you never know. Again, I just want to give Kansas some credit here and say that they can hang around with Texas. And if they hang around, again, one play here or there could completely change the game and perhaps lead to a big upset. Missouri, Vanderbilt, 4 o'clock Eastern Time on the SEC Network. Missouri favored by 13.5 on the road. Missouri's 4-0. Everyone's patting them on the back. They're ranked. Got a big win over Kansas State. Then you go in against Vanderbilt, expect to win, and a Vandy team that has shown a little bit of life offensively the last few weeks, and so you never know. I just think that this could be one of those games where Vanderbilt puts it all together. Last year they pulled off a couple of big upsets. Could they do it again? Perhaps. We'll see. Next, we go to Clemson Syracuse, noon Eastern Time on ABC. Clemson favored by 6.5. I think this goes one of two ways. Clemson, the better team, the more talented team, the angry team, they go in there and they win easily. Or they've already lost 2 games. They're starting to doubt themselves. Maybe they give up on the season against a 4-0 Syracuse team that still has a lot to play for. Syracuse, good offense, good quarterback. Perhaps they pull off the upset. Again, they're the underdogs, even though they're 4-0. I don't know what's going to happen here. I think, again, Clemson big or maybe Syracuse in a close one, but definitely put the Tigers on upset alert. Texas A&M versus Arkansas, noon Eastern time on the SEC Network, playing in Arlington there. Texas A&M favored by 6.5 points. Connor Wigman is down. Max Johnson steps in at quarterback for the Aggies. Played pretty well last week when he came in there. I don't think it's going to hurt him too much. I think it's going to be a really motivated Arkansas team, though. I feel like they were the better team last year. Just didn't make some plays, and Texas A&M did, and they wound up losing that game. An Arkansas team with 2 losses. Backs against the wall here. This is a must-win for them. It's really a must-win for both teams. Texas A&M cannot afford to lose this game with Alabama coming the next week. So these are 2 teams that are really, really going to want this game, and I don't know what's going to happen, but I think Arkansas has a chance to pull off the upset. Next, we've got Notre Dame versus Duke. The most likely upset, in my opinion, to happen this weekend. 7:30 Eastern time on ABC. Game day is going to be there. Notre Dame's favored by 5.5. And it's not because I think Notre Dame is not a good team. I just think Duke is a good team. Duke is legit, and we said that all offseason. I said, look, Duke is a top 25 team. They may not finish in the top 25 just because their schedule is really tough, but they've already proven, I mean, they're a good football team, and they've got a really good defense. Is the stage too big for them? With game day being there, maybe they put too much pressure on themselves and they don't show up in this game. That could happen. Or maybe they're just extra fired up, and maybe they're actually a better team than Notre Dame. I think that's a possibility. Again, I think they're good. I think Notre Dame's good as well. I think this is going to be a great game, a close game. If the moment is not too big for Duke, I think they have a really good shot of pulling off the upset. If not, Notre Dame probably wins by at least a touchdown. But that, I think, is the most likely upset to happen this weekend. If we see any upsets, I think they will come from these 8 games. Let me know your thoughts down in the comments below, and thank you for watching.